area needs to be on guard as we go through the rest of the afternoon into the evening hours.
Yeah, you know, Grant, the setup for this was that really warm, soupy air, and something that we both mentioned yesterday, sunshine not our friend today. We saw a little bit more of that this late morning into the early afternoon, and that really adds fuel to the fire, perking up these storms, and that's why they're bubbling up ahead of the main line. Let me get in on another look at this. This is the cloud to ground lightning that we're seeing, and there's so much of it right now across the Lehigh Valley. Again, if you're just joining us, it is now 2:23. And we are looking at a tornado warning for Berks and Lehigh counties. I want to get in a little bit closer right now and show you what's happening just to the north of the area. We are looking at the possibility here of a tornado, and it is radar indicated right now. So what I'm going to do is zoom in a little bit more, and then I want to show you the velocity part of the storm. That's going to be wind going toward the radar and away from the radar. And when we see that, that's green against red, that's where we potentially would have that rotation. And right now, the best area that we would see some of that would be anywhere between Schuylkill Haven, Hamburg, and over toward just south of Lynn. Lynn right now in a severe thunderstorm warning. But right now what we're seeing here is a little bit of green right here, right along there, 76. So we're going to be, or 78, I should say. So we're going to be concerned about this area here just to the north of 76 as you make your way a little bit further east. So right now, this is the main area of where we potentially could be looking at some rotation. And then also there's another area here. And unfortunately, this is kind of in between two radars that can give us the best view of velocity. But as we take a look just now to the east of Lynn and just north of 78, we potentially, this is going to be just west of 476, potentially see a little bit of rotation here as well. So on the big picture, that's one of the areas that we'd be looking at a little bit of a notch. When you have that, that's where we would be indicating a tornado. So the real good call here is that if you're in Berks and Lehigh County right now, get to the lowest area of your home. If you don't have a basement, and of course that would be the best place to go, it would also be advisable to get to a bathroom, an interior closet, someplace that's windowless, and make sure your head is protected. Of course, when a tornado is bearing down on you, you want to make sure that you crouch down. A bathtub would be a great place to be as well. Severe thunderstorm watch for everybody until 9 p.m. But as you can tell, this is a perfect example. Just because it's a severe thunderstorm watch doesn't mean we're not going to get some tornadoes with this as well. And that's what we're seeing already today. Tornado warning again for Berks and Lehigh County till 2:45. It's all part of a big system that's continuing now to push east in our direction. And that's going to give us this big line of thunderstorms already forming across the Lehigh Valley. That's going to make its way down and start back building across areas just west of Philadelphia and pushing east. That's why we're at the enhanced risk for today. The enhanced risk for severe weather does cover everybody right now underneath any of those warnings. That goes all the way through tonight as we continue to watch this. So the storm's already arriving now, and then as we get into the 6 o'clock hour, a little bit closer to Philadelphia, 6 to 10, Jersey Shore, you'll have your chance for thunderstorms between 8 and midnight. Grant, I'm going to go ahead and regroup on this computer. Going to take a look at the latest information, and we're also going to take a look right now at the latest on that tornado warning. Again, Berks and Lehigh counties, get to your shelters right now. That's where we have the tornado warning until 2:45.
All right, Andrew, so a couple of other things coming down while you were talking about that tornado threat. Aerial flood advisory for Berks and Carbon and Lehigh County until 5:30, basically saying anywhere within this area, Berks, Carbon, and Lehigh County, through 5:30, we could see some flooding. The storms that you're showing there are bringing in a lot of different hazards here. There's so much instability and so much moisture in the atmosphere. So the instability is causing the lift in the atmosphere. It's producing those very strong winds. There's a little spin that's just producing that tornado threat. But then also that heavy rainfall could result in some flooding, and this is actually relatively saturated ground. We've seen several days with some scattered showers and storms. So let me get you back down here, and actually the lightning threat as well. I turned on our lightning track here, and you can see just a ton of lightning, a lot of lightning all within these storms, and that lightning in itself is going to pose a very real threat for danger. So I think there's really no excuse to go outside and try to look for it. This is incredible when you look at the number of lightning strikes within the last 10 to 15 minutes. Over 1,500 lightning strikes just in this general area there across the Lehigh Valley from Berks County up to Lehigh and Northampton County. So I'm going to turn off the lightning because there's just too much of it. It muddies the water. It's going to be too hard to see. All of your orange boxes there, all of those orange polygons within those cells, those are all severe thunderstorm warnings, and then our one red polygon right there, and I'll stop it and I want to go all the way down to street level as much as I can without losing perspective of where we are, that is our tornado warning, all right? So the tornado warning goes for about another 20 minutes or so, goes until 2:45. So the threat area right now is almost immediately over Stony Run, and it's tracking to the north and east, right over 737, and it's heading up toward Lynn. So if you're in Lynn, if you're in Switzer, if you're in Mosserville, all of those locations or locations near there need to make sure you get into your safe place. Now, this storm is tracking to the north and east at around 15 miles per hour. So I want to put on a storm track for us here. And I'm not going to take it out too far because these storms are going to evolve and they're going to change very rapidly just because of the dynamic nature of our environment right now. So 2:33, looking at Stony Run, the storm will be near your area. Lynn around 2:46. And then beyond that, beyond the extent of our tornado warning, we're looking at Loch London arriving around 3, still likely dealing with very heavy rainfall and that threat for gusty winds, damaging winds, and maybe even a tornado. Jordan Valley around 3:06. Let me zoom out a little bit more here, show you the additional severe thunderstorm warnings across the area. We have several that are up into Lehigh, Northampton County. That goes until 2:45, then a little bit farther back into Upper Berks County. Let me turn our storm trackers back on here with our labels so you can see exactly. There's our tornado warning a little bit farther back into Center and Hamburg. Now there's our severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Berks and Lehigh County. That'll run until 3:15. This is all associated with a large cluster of thunderstorms that will continue to develop. So we will likely track, if not this area, additional areas of storms that will be developing as we head through the next several hours into the latter afternoon hours, into the evening, and then onward into the first half of the overnight as the cluster of storms now moves into South Jersey, probably around sunset into after dark tonight. But meteorologist Andrew Kozak standing by here. Andrew, we haven't got any more updates from the National Weather Service. I've been keeping an eye on that chat that we have directly with them. Yeah. At the end of the day, this is just a dangerous situation over the Lehigh Valley, from the tornado threat, the damaging wind threat, and then the incredible amount of lightning is concerning with this. And
you know, Grant, we saw the setup for this, right? I mean, it's been so humid. A lot of people commenting how soupy it's been the last day or so, and that's really what's led to this too. You have a dynamic system making its way closer to us, meeting up with this air, and then you add a little bit of sunshine this morning, and that's why everything's kind of popping up. Again, if you're joining us from Philadelphia, we're going to keep our eye on you because these storms are back building a little further south, a little further north, just north and west of Trenton. That's where we have some thunderstorms now, mainly non-severe. But again, we are focusing on that tornado warning right now. That is the most immediate threat for weather for Berks and Lehigh County. So let me get in a little bit closer now. There's Lehigh right now. There's a lot of lightning. And by the way, one of the other things that's a little dangerous with this is there's so much cloud to ground lightning here. Every single one of these little barbs is in real time. There's a lot of rain as well. So a tornado, if it does form, does get rain wrapped. It also continues to be hard to see, especially when you start seeing all of these areas of very heavy rain and thunderstorms moving in. There's Lynn right now. I want to zoom in a little bit closer to where the potential for a tornado would be. And as Grant showed you just a couple minutes ago, from Lynn to Mosserville and Jordan Valley, this is the most intense thunderstorm that we're seeing right now. And it is the one that is the most capable of producing a tornado. There is some good news with this right now, and that is, and this is really for any time that we're in a tornado warning, we're now several minutes in. We haven't had any confirmations, just looking at this from the radar. But then you put the lightning back on, there's a lot of this to cover. So we're going to continue to watch this. We're also going to continue to watch the velocity. This is the movement of the storm. Radar located to the south and the east. So the green represents particles, wind, rain that's hitting the radar, moving toward it. Red is away. When you have toward and away up against each other, that's where you would potentially have some rotation. And right now, the best area would be just around Greenwich, Lynn, and see that little red and green area here. And Grant, we can definitely keep an eye on this as we move in a little bit closer. Quaker City to Albany, and I know you mentioned Stony Run before. This would be the area right now that if you are in, you need to get to your shelters, because at least indicated from our end, there's plenty of people I'm sure on the ground that may visually confirm this, but if there is a tornado with this, if there is a funnel cloud with this, of course that's that rotating air that hasn't actually touched the ground yet, thus becoming a tornado, this would be the area from Lynn over toward Albany, Quaker City, and Stony Run. Now is the time to get to your shelters. This is going to be moving to the north and the northeast pretty slowly at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, at least right here. You do need to make sure that you are away from windows, in your basement. If you don't have a basement, lowest floor of your house, away from everything. Get your family, bring the dog in as well, and make sure you crouch down and protect your head. That's where the most injuries and deaths happen from these things, is to your head. But again, green, red up against each other. This is movement toward and away. And Grant, I think when you put this on the top of your radar, that shows just the regular radar, not the velocities, this is going to be the most likely area where we would have rotation if this storm is actually dropping a tornado.
The rotation is not a dead ringer to suggest that there's a tornado on the ground, but sometimes as you start moving up to elevation, that radar beam also it gets higher and higher up into the atmosphere as it moves away from the radar site. It's not always a clear indication, even though there may actually be a tornado on the ground. So we got to treat this as if there's a tornado on the ground.
Yeah.
And if you're in this warning area, get to that safe place and stay there until we give you the all clear, which we will do with every single one of these storms as they move through. A new alert just coming down from the National Weather Service. This is trailing in behind the storms that have been moving through. The severe, the damaging winds, the hail, and that tornado threat, but now also a flooding threat here across Berks County, upper Berks County into northwestern Lehigh County, a flash flood warning in effect. So this flash flood warning, just because of all that really heavy rainfall right here in this area, that darker red, just to the northwest of Greenwich, but Hamburg, and then just to the southwest of Lynn there. This is where we've seen 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches of rainfall within a very short period of time, and that is now resulting in the concern for flooding. If it isn't happening now, some places could see it here relatively soon, just because of the continuation of the heavy rainfall that's moving through. This is also the same area that has an ongoing severe thunderstorm warning. Berks, Lehigh County. This severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 3:15 due to the threat of 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's winds that could cause damage to not just trees, but also to your home. If you have those winds picking up, it could pick something up that was out in your yard, and it could throw it up against your house. It could break a window, which is why we say get away from those windows. Get into that innermost room of your home, and again, stay there until the all clear is sounded, or until you can just tell by the sound, because these storms are very loud with all that lightning, that threat is going to be clearing out. Farther to the north and west, we've got additional severe thunderstorm warnings, and I might have to check here. Let me just come over here real quick and have a look. It looks like that tornado warning has been canceled. So sort of what we were looking at there, we were looking at how the rotation within that storm just was not as impressive as it initially was for Berks and Lehigh. So tornado warning has been canceled. The threat for a tornado has gone away now, but an ongoing threat for severe weather, damaging winds, hail, frequent lightning, and very heavy rainfall continues across the Lehigh Valley. In fact, an additional severe thunderstorm warning just coming down for Monroe and Northampton County until 3:15. Andrew, I'll send things back over to you. I'll continue to monitor some of the updates that we're getting in.
Yes, I mean, this is good news, Grant, because we're still seeing, of course, severe weather, but at least the tornado threat is over for now. So we're going to send you back to regular programming in just a second. I just want to once again point out that we have frequent lightning, thunder, heavy rain, gusty winds. We're looking at the velocity for potential rotation here, and a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 p.m. Again, no matter where you're watching from, the Jersey Shore, Philadelphia, and up toward the Lehigh Valley and the Poconos, we have you covered. We'll have frequent updates, and Grant will be back at 3 o'clock with a fresh update at the top of the hour. Stay with us.
We know this place by heart. What makes it tick? What makes it different? What makes it awesome? Because we live here too. CBS Philadelphia has been here since